Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I am Jaswinder aka Shark. And this is my friend Gabbar Singh. Yeah, the same one because the rest of my sharks are in Penang. Okay, so today I would like to give you guys 7 simple tips on how to take care of your turban so that it lasts longer with you guys. Tip number 1, make sure your turban is soft when you're tying it. Because if it's rough, you'll be using Baaj and keep poking into it and it can damage your turban. So if it's rough when you bought it, just soak it in a bit of soap and maybe you can put some softener, and it will become softer, it will be easier for you to tie. Tip number 2, if you buy a black turban like this, you have to soak it in the water for 2 or 3 hours at least before you tie it. Because black cloth normally wear out faster than other colors, but if you soak it, it might last longer. This is according to what I know and according to my experiences. So many people realize that the black cloth actually doesn't last long, and according to many of us who ties turban, if you do this to your black cloth, black turban, it will last a bit longer and it won't wear out that fast. Tip number 3, do not cut your turban from the middle. For example, most of us would buy 5 or 6 meter turban and then cut it from the middle, from the width, right, and make it into 2 5 or 6 meter turbans. And most of us would end up realizing that it's not thick enough when we tie it. For younger kids, it's suitable to cut in the middle because it suits their head. So when we already cut, then most probably we're not going to use it because it doesn't look nice anymore, and we end up buying another turban to replace that same turban that we had. So I would suggest that you don't cut in the middle and maybe tie a few times, and if you feel that you need to cut from the middle and make it into 2 so that it becomes a bit smaller for your head, then go ahead, but try it out first. Tip number 4, do not cut your turban too short. So for an example, this is my 6 meters turban, and when the last layer reaches here, most of us will end up cutting it right here. But what I would suggest is if you leave it a bit longer until here, and you will have more space to make mistakes. For an example, if somehow on that day your jura is a bit bigger or a bit to the front and you end up using more of the cloth, then the cloth will not reach here, and then you end up opening it back and trying to tie it second round. Tip number 5, make sure to wash your turban if you sweat a lot on that day or it got wet in the rain, because it's going to leave stains of sweat in this line. Tip number 6, you can tie a base to avoid the stains of your sweat, and most of the time your white turban will have the stains of your sweat, and here you can tie a base inside that covers until here so that there is a lesser cloth of the turban that is touching your face. Now if on the day you sweat too much, the base would not let the sweat to touch the cloth, especially the white turban. Tip number 7, be very careful when you're using your Baaj. This is how bad the damage can be when you're not careful, when you're trying to make your turban neat with your Baaj. I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and if there are any other useful tips that you guys want to let me know, do not hesitate to drop it in the comment section and share this video with your other friends. Till then, this is the Shark keeping you sharp. Grrr!